right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another late night stream of mine. And as you see, we are doing U-boat again. So, you are invited to join me diving into this simulation, Second World War submarine simulation. So we slip into a role of a German submarine commander. And the beautiful thing about what we do here is that we jointly are doing here a complete playthrough through the Second World War. So you see at the moment it's January 1944, and we started this whole project in September 39, which was actually the eve of the start of the Second World War, which means we are more than 4 years now into the war. And I did share just any kill, any adventure, any patrol with you since then. So quite some project, and I think we are doing this since a year or something. I will have to check once when I actually did start this project. I couldn't even tell right now. So at the moment we are in the Mediterranean, and we had a lot of adventures in the North Sea, in the close Atlantic. Then we went far into the Atlantic, finally over to Operation Drumbeat on the American shores. By then we already had been promoted from Type 2 captain to Type 7 captain. And after that we did the Arctic convoys, which I would say was up to now maybe the toughest set of missions. And after that we went through the Strait of Gibraltar, and now we are doing this Mediterranean mission set, being at 180,000 tons out of 250,000, which means we have already reached the first 2 stages, and now we are working on the final stage of this mission set. But yeah, still some work to do, some tonnage to sink. So I'm glad to have you with us. At the moment we are doing just an ordinary patrol mission in this area, and last stream, we actually did detect a merchantman which seemed to be moving with roughly something like 9 knots coming in, and yeah, we went after him, and we did every 2 hours we did a hydrophone check and figured out, yeah, these were the positions that we got each time, and by the distance now we are pretty sure about their speed. So the distance between 2 contacts is almost, yeah, always something about 18 miles. In 2 hours is something like 9 miles per hour, 9 knots, and we finally managed to overtake them. And now we did put ourselves right in front of these guys, and there he comes. So let's go for periscope depth. We don't know yet what type of ship that is. Yeah, that late in the war you could run into merchantmen with quite some armament, and they could easily outgun us with our single deck gun. So guys, please, periscope depth. crew's discipline is 94%, which is still alright. Let's check the galley.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
At the moment it's just one type of food. Maybe we should offer a second type of food to get back to 100%. Yeah, 94% is not a problem, but yeah, better to have some margin. So here we are. By the way, do we get any reasonable information from the hydrophone? At periscope depth, the hydrophone often gives complete nonsense as a result.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle. Herr Kapitän?
Like it seems to do right now. No information.
Herr Kapitän? Herr Kapitän?
Now let's check the hydrophone. Should be something like 90 degrees, right? Oh yeah, there they are. British freighter. Now what I want to do is I want to assign Mr. Arles to support the depth keeping. So he is going to give some advice to the crew mates who are manning the depth steers to make sure that they don't broach the surface for better depth keeping. That's always a risk when you're at periscope depth. You are very shallow below sea level, and particularly when it's quite some wave, some swell up there, it's a bit of a risk that you approach the surface and get spotted. Okay, torpedo tube 1 urgently needs refurbishment. Yeah, and he gets it at the moment. Mr. Schneider, his particular job, yeah, his dedicated job actually is to make sure that the torpedoes are well maintained. And at the moment he's working on torpedo tube 1. Which is exactly what we need. So he could do torpedo tube 4 by now. But we still have a few minutes, I think, until we are in range. Now, by the way, we started a new stream, so let's give it a new save. It's hard to figure out what type of ship it is at the moment. Let's do a little bit of time acceleration. It's coming in. I don't know, maybe I should go slowly forward. So guys, what's your guess? What type of ship do we have here? My first guess is could it actually be a C3? Or a Liberty? That's my guess at the moment, that we have a Liberty there. Hey guys, what do you think? I would say pretty much looks like a Liberty. So let's assume for now that it is a Liberty. Velocity we determined to be something like 9 knots, which is pretty unusual from experience. And now we are observing it at an angle of 75 degrees. And it's moving roughly on a course like that, which means their angle on bow on us would be something like 15. Yeah, looks reasonable. And yeah, pretty sure it's a C3 Liberty, and the Liberty is heavily armed, so no point in doing a surface approach. They would start using their deck guns and sinking us in a glimpse of an eye. Now, what's the distance? Estimated distance at the moment.
Entfernung 2095 Meter.
Looks like they're still a bit further away
Links.
than 1 mile.
9 Knoten.
Yeah, we are gonna torpedo the guy. What's the status of the torpedo maintenance? Looks alright, I would say. Maybe I would still like to have T2 maintained. Quickly, please.
Unterstützung.
Yeah, the sea is relatively quiet.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung 1664 Meter.
Stop the engines. 65. Should be 25 degrees angle on bow. Yeah, that makes sense.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung 1,363 Meter.
Yeah, there they come. There they come, fingers crossed that our figures are all right. So when they did 18 miles in 2 hours, their speed must be 9 knots, am I right? That's it.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung
Angle
zum Ziel.
bow,
1,080 Meter.
55 degrees. Would be 35 degrees angle on bow of theirs. 50 by now. Yeah, makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Aktualisieren.
Less than
Entfernung
half a mile.
8,74 Meter.
So, maintenance status. Eins, zwei, vier. I should fire 1, 2, 4. Or do I dare to fire just 2? Two and 4. Yeah, all right. All right, I think my angle on bow is perfectly fine.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung
We
6,
are
5, 7
very
Meter.
close. Which ones did I say I would fire? 1 and 4. They are in the best maintenance condition. Drought 7. Let's put it to 7.5.
Rohr 1 bewässern. Los! Rohr 4 bewässern.
Rohr 4 bewässert.
40 Sekunden bis Torpedoeinschlag. Los! Sekunden. 40 Sekunden bis Torpedoeinschlag.
Yeah, now this is gonna be a hit. Just hope, your fingers crossed, that it's not gonna be a dud.
30 Sekunden. Schwere Schäden.
Heavy damages, very good. What about the next one?
20 Sekunden.
Wow. That was the boiler, right? Was it? Yeah. We got him perfectly fine, I would say. And they are quickly going down. Let's give it a save. That was nice torpedoing. Yeah, Colin, yeah. So you actually taught me what sound and what image would indicate the boiler being hit. Good evening, by the way. I hope you're fine. I hope you had a good Friday. Okay. That's an emergency call from that guy. Hi, Isley. Good evening. How are you doing? Yeah, this is weekend now.
Die Besatzung evakuiert das Schiff.
Our kids actually had their last day at school, and now they are on summer holiday. Okay, you just got up? Yeah, good morning. So, what's the matter? I hope you're not ill. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you. I would have loved to see Scotland in the next round. Yeah, to escape the heat. So, that sounds like your bed might be in the basement. Or ground floor. Actually, here in our house, it's only the ground floor where you still have a reasonable temperature. Ah, okay, you have an air condition. Yep. Yes. Yeah, it's so hot. Yeah, I checked it just an hour ago. It was something like 11 o'clock and it was still 30 something degrees. That's really unbelievable. I do have a colleague from India. I mean, he's in Germany since many years, but he actually originates from India, from Bangalore area. And he said that in India, in the area where he comes from, it's never that hot like it is here right now. Yeah, okay. So, you are ready for a late night stream? Yeah, glad to have you in. Yeah, okay, that's good. I wish we had a thunderstorm here as well, but there is nothing like that in sight or being announced. And so we have opened all the windows wide ajar, hoping that we get some cooling over the night. Yeah, amazing. This stretch of heat is having a grip on whole Europe, right? From Scotland over England, France, Germany, Belgium, of course. And yeah, the humidity is relatively high. I had it the last days when I...
Eine weitere Unternehmung erfolgreich abgeschlossen.
Right.
Machen
Wow.
wir weiter so.
That was a
Höhlenbruch.
big
Sie
one.
sinken.
More than 7,000 tons. With that, we have finished the mission, actually. But I think I'm gonna continue hunting a bit. Yeah, it was when I took something out of the fridge, just in a few minutes, it was covered, with condensated water. Yep. So, nice. Got that one, and let's get back to the surface.
Anblasen.
Aktuelle Tiefe 10.
Now it's gone. Yeah,
Auf Dieselmotor.
quite a few lifeboats and some debris.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Funkraum besetzen. Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Right, he's reloading. So sooner or later we can get the outside storage inside.
Eins geladen.
Yeah, not here. Around here, the weather forecast tells us that tomorrow will be the hottest day. And still, already today, the newspapers told us that today the highest temperature ever was measured in Germany. Yeah, that's relatively cool. I think around here it's much. Let me check that briefly. Yeah, we still have 29 degrees around here. Right now. Okay, even a bit hotter over there in Belgium. Yeah. Yeah, amazing.
Alle Maschinen stopp.
Okay, let's check the wreck.
Herr Kaloi?
Lifeboat 1. Any officers? No. Lifeboat 2. No officers as well. Let's go. Lifeboat 3. And 4. And finally 5. Oh yes, 2 officers. Two new survivors on board, but now give them supplies. I don't know, it's really not worth the while. At the moment we don't have any use for the reputation points anymore. But canned bread, yeah, okay, we can get some debris. Let's get the pork. Even if it is just a few cans of pork, we could use it to increase the morale for a shorter term.
Herr Kapitän?
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kalon?
Herr Kapitän? Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloi. Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Jawohl.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Let's do the transfer.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Natürlich, Herr Kaloi. Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloi? Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
Yeah, that takes a long while to get the outside stored torpedoes to the inside stores. But it's night time, so good time to do that. Oh god, seriously? 50 degrees in Toulouse? Oh god.
Ich habe gehört, dass Sie da nach dem Essen
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi. Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Yeah, and get some more canned bread. Yeah, that was quite a big baby that we sank there.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi. Natürlich, Herr Kaloi. Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle. Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Let's pick up our patrol routine again.
Kurs setzen. Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Alright, fire 4 different types of food. That should boost this discipline. Yep. Oh yes, Death Valley type of temperatures, yeah. So, very good. And let's carry on.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
Why are they not finishing it?
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yeah, they are finished.
Wie lauten
So
Ihre Befehle,
guys.
Herr Kaloin? Bestätige. Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloin. Herr Kaloin?
Nice. Nice situation. Oh yeah, we have quite a bit of water in the bilge, so
Gruppe einschalten.
somebody please turn on the bilge pump.
Herr Kapitän? Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloi?
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Yeah. Each of my officers does have a
Herr Kaloi?
breathing apparatus. Here we are, change of watch.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Maybe we're gonna do another hydrophone check at 4 o'clock. Yes.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
So again, we can watch the off-watch crew all move into the front compartment for additional ballast. The crew manning the depth steers and one officer, in this case Mr. Arles, opening the valves to let seawater rush into the ballast tanks. That takes a moment, and then we are going down, supported by the depth planes.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Now let's see if we hear something.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloi? 25 Meter.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Meter.
So, do we get any contact? Not yet. So here we are at 191,000 tons. A little bit less than 60,000 tons away from finishing the mission. I mean, the overall scenario here. The mission itself we already finished. Our goal was to sink 7,000 tons.
55 Meter.
Yeah, I see the number of watchers going up a bit, so welcome to all of you guys watching. It's great to have you in. Don't feel observed. Perfectly fine if you just lurk. But nevertheless, let me mention that you could make a little streamer like me a little bit more happy even if you would. Give me some feedback, maybe even just a hi or thumbs up in the chat, or maybe follow, whatever you like. As I said, if you feel so, watching silently is perfectly fine. Just glad for any number of people watching my stream. Always great. I mean, this is the best reward for a streamer, at least if you are not doing it commercially. That you just see that a few people care for what you do. And there seem to be propellers dead ahead. No. Again, fingers crossed that this guy is not a fisherman. Yeah, we are, like usual, as usual, we are gonna finish the hydrophone check just to make sure that we don't miss any important contact, and then start the chase. There we are. Hydrophone check ended. The crew blows the tank, which again means that compressed air is gonna be pushed into the ballast tanks, pushing the water out back into the sea. And afterwards, yeah, with the empty ballast tanks, the boat should pop up to the surface like a cork. Hopefully. So let's just start the chase. And let's assume that this is just an ordinary merchantman moving with 8 knots, then after 1 hour he should be somewhere on this circle. And us moving with, yeah, roughly 16 knots at flank speed. This should bring us there after 1 hour. Let's go. And yeah, next hydrophone check.
Laufen auf 50 Meter.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
So now after more or less exactly 1 hour, the second position that we get now will give us an idea of their course and of their speed. We have the first hint of daylight in the east. Beautiful. I love all these situations over the day, over the year. You have these, yeah, very individual views, and yeah, what we have here is even the moonlight. The moon must be hidden somewhere there,
5 Meter.
and the sun is already rising on the other side.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
25 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 120 Grad.
Okay, 120 degrees, come on. That's another one. That's another contact. Single contact 09.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
55 Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 5 Grad.
Okay,
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kanone?
that's them.
55 Meter.
And the distance, yeah, it's not a fast mover, but I think it's too fast to be a fisherman. That's my guess.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yeah, it's worthwhile to try to intercept these guys and check. Yeah, let's do a bit of time acceleration, and there we go. Back to the surface.
Getaucht.
these guys. Another 6 miles
Gewartet.
should bring them roughly there.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yeah, let's go hunting. I have to admit, I really didn't check the time.
Herr Kaloin,
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
And let's give it another hydrophone check.
50 Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
25 Meter.
Herr Kaloin.
Now, let's see if our dead reckoning here was correct. That's my guesstimated position of them now after 1 hour.
45 Meter.
If it was 1 hour. Okay, there we are. Down to 50 meters. Engines are being stopped. And the crew is silently listening for just any
50 Meter.
noise. And down here, away from all the noise from the surface, the waves, wind, weather, the hydrophone develops an enormous range, enormous detection range of around 90 miles if the weather is good. And within this radius,
50 Meter.
we should be able to detect just any contact.
Meter.
Yeah, of course, if the weather gets more and more stormy and rainy up there, then the range is significantly reduced by all the noise that we get from the surface. But right now, with 11 knots of wind speed, the weather is still all right.
Herr Kaloin.
Aktuelle Tiefe 55 Meter.
So please, guys, give me a contact. Mr. Strauss at the hydrophone.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 340 Grad.
Alright, there we get it. That's them. Pretty sure. Like that.
Ja.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Anblasen.
Okay, we get back to the surface and yeah, now we need one of you engineering guys. At the moment, Mr. Schultz, our line management guy, our officer of the line, is watch officer, so he could only care for the map or doing the lookouts, but yeah, so Mr. Grada, he's still tired, so let's get Mr. Arles. Sorry to wake you up, but we need you at the engines, although it's your off watch.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
So it's 6:10, and we are gonna go for one more hour till 7:10. Let's go. Yep. And next hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
So if my dead reckoning is fairly okay, they should be somewhere here, and we are really keeping up with them. Catching up with them. And so another 1 or 2 hours and we should be nicely ahead of them. There, the sun is up. It's 7 o'clock. Beautiful.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. E-Motoren.
And there we go. Oh, guys, even down here,
25 Meter.
it's the coldest place in our house, but still, I'm getting sweaty just from playing U-Boat.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 290 Grad.
50 Meter. Meter.
Hey, Uncle Bot. Yeah, great.
50 Meter.
Great to have you in. So perfectly fine if you just lurk. But nice that you give word that you're there. So I hope you're fine. Hope you had a good finish of the week.
Meter.
Yeah, mid to upper 30s. And thunderstorms, yeah. Well, around here we would be glad to have a thunderstorm because it might cool down the temperature a bit. Yeah, around here it's 38 degrees and this is completely unusual. Yes, it's just the start of the summer. Yeah, let's see what we are gonna get. Yeah, for us it's definitely not. And yeah, that's what I heard also around here where I live, that next week we are gonna get back to normal summer temperatures. Okay, there they are. A bit further than I guessed them to be.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
So it's even the more weird that I have to sneeze. So it's...
Anblasen. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yeah, we are going flank speed. Let's do that for another 1 hour now.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Bestätige.
And here we are. Yeah, give us the next hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Yeah, okay. Yep. So she's pretty much scared, yep. Yeah, that's the same around here. If you have something like 25 to 27 degrees in summer, that's already,
Aktuelle Tiefe
yeah,
5 Meter.
a warm summer day. But really, to approach something like 30 degrees, it's very hot. And now being way towards 40 degrees, that's completely out of the ordinary.
50 Meter.
The humidity, yeah. And that's so weird as well around here, that very high and unusual humidity that we have.
45 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Teilung 315 Grad.
Whoops, hey?
Torpedorohr 1.
Oh, yes, of course. My mistake, actually.
50 Meter.
Yeah. Of course, they are there by now.
Meter.
So what distance do we get? 5 miles. Yeah, but meanwhile, I'm pretty sure that this guy is not a fisherman.
Meter.
Yeah, I could imagine that you have quite some pleasant climate around the Rockies, right? Of course, colder in winter as well. Yeah, but 48 we never had. The newspapers today said that actually today the hottest day ever in Germany was measured. It was in the southwest of Germany, and it was 41.5 degrees or something. And the highest ever record before was 41.2. And the weather forecast, at least around here, says that tomorrow it's getting even warmer. Yes, I mean, you get the closer you are to the sea, the more moisture you get, right? The more humidity you get. Yeah, that's right. Germany is still also pretty maritime climate, microscopically observed. Yeah, particularly right now we have an enormous humidity. I think I mentioned it before, right? Just yesterday when I took out something, I think I took a cucumber out of the fridge, and just within minutes I had a thick film of moisture, of condensed water on it. That's, I mean, having it like that is relatively unusual around here still.
Herr Kapitän? Denkt alle an eure Ausbildung. Bleibt ruhig und konzentriert.
Anblasen. Aktuelle Tiefe 45 Meter. Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Does it work? Might be that we overshoot like that. Might be that we overshoot.
25 Meter. Alarm beenden. Herr Kaloin, wir sind auf Seerohrtiefe. Boot für Rundblick eingestellt.
So, Mr. Grade, please take care that we don't overshoot. And there we are. That's the guy. Let's see if we can already figure out what type of target it is. From that distance. It's still already... yeah, it's still 5 miles or something. Yeah, when I was a youth, I think it was something like 15 years old. At that time, my father went to Indonesia now and then, so he had a project there. He wasn't there continuously, but over the range of something like 2 years, he went there a few times for a month or something. And once we visited him there, and that was the toughest climate I ever experienced. I remember when we got out of the plane in Medan, and that was warmth and humidity at the same time. That was like running into a wall. Hey, this is a bug. This is a bug that when you change the... I hate that. And that's so stupid. Guys, you must do something about that. There they are. Okay, that's pretty clear. I think this guy... it's this one here. It's an Empire Tower. Or what do you guys think? I think it's pretty clear with the two kind of, yeah, spars on the quarterdeck. So this should be a completely unarmed guy, and we could head in on the surface and try to scare them off the ship. Let's try that. So we are gonna go back to the surface. And now we have been blowing the tanks twice. Yeah, and then working in an engine room, yeah. That must have been pretty tough, yeah. There we go, flank speed. Gonna try to intercept the guy. Yeah, I haven't been much in overseas, so I'm thinking about. I've visited other continents. Yeah, that back then, when I was something like 15 years old, to Indonesia, and then something like 2 years later, 1 or 2 years later, we did Interrail, and I went to Morocco, yeah, which is also a different continent. So I went to the southern tip of Spain by train, and from there with the ferry to Morocco. That was my second visit to a different continent, and then just within a few months I had 2 business trips to the US, one to the west coast and one to the east coast. And that's actually my only experience with other continents, to be honest. Well, we once did a hiking holiday of 3 weeks on Iceland, but I think by the book Iceland belongs to the European continent, but it's not quite clear because there is kind of a crack running straight through Iceland, so that the left part, the western part of Iceland, is more belonging to America and the eastern is more belonging to Europe, so it's not quite clear. And we have been hiking around on both parts of Iceland. Wow, yeah. I should do something like that to lose a little bit of weight. By the way, guys, I see that the number of watches has been going up considerably. So great to have you in, guys. A pleasure to entertain you. And of course, it's perfectly fine for me if you just lurk silently. But let me nevertheless mention that I would be very glad to hear a word of you, to read a word of you in the chat. Get some feedback, what you think about the game, what you think about the stream. And of course, I'm always curious where you're from. Yeah, for me, myself, I'm from Frankfurt area in Germany, which, yeah, pretty sure you can easily guess from my accent that I'm a German. And this is one of the most fascinating things for me on Twitch, that, yeah, that we get into contact with people from all over the world. So right now we have Uncle Bot from the US, we have Colin from Scotland, we have Isley from Belgium, me from Germany. I think that's it, right? That's all the guys at least who gave feedback on the chat. The monsoon rains, yep. Yeah, there they are. Let's just hope that they don't try to flee, but abandon the ship when we threaten them. Yeah, right, it's an Empire Tower. Yeah, that was my guess as well.
Herr Kaloy, feindliche Schiffe, gebt Alarm.
Do they?
Wasser, aber keine Panik. Wir machen das schon. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten. Kurs setzen.
There they are. Empire Tower. Velocity was, what was it, 7 finally. And the angle on bow at the moment. -40. Not so easy to tell. Yeah, he seems to be changing course, definitely. Yes, that's right. The 2 vertical masts astern. So this guy is so easy to be recognized. Yep.
Kurs setzen.
UBOAT 2 gewartet.
Halbe Fahrt voraus. Kleine Fahrt voraus.
So now, let's give it a save and signal them that we intend to sink the ship and see what they're gonna do. After your crew sends the light signals that you are going to sink the vessel, a commotion is quickly seen on deck and the crew is leaving the ship. Alright.
Funkraum besetzen.
Yeah, let's send an away team to the freighter. So we are gonna send Mr. Grade, Mr. Arles, and Mr. Schultz. And 7 crewmates. There we go. And now we once more should see the Zodiac passing that stretch of water and go for that poor little merchant. So go for the engine room. And here, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Scuttle the ship without using explosives. That's because one of my engineers has that skill. And there they go down very, very, very quickly. If you do it like that.
Sie gehen unter.
Yep, there they go.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Okay, the second lifeboat is said to be still too far away.
Telegramm gesendet.
Kurs setzen.
Okay, that was something like roughly 6,000 tons, 5 or 6,000 tons. So we are still below 200,000, but we are getting close. And again, we did sink that guy without using any torpedoes.
Alle Maschinen, stopp.
Okay, 2 more officers. Let's get them on board. And let's keep moving.
Kurs setzen. Halbe Fahrt voraus. Navigation besetzen.
Yeah, please, Mr. Schultz. It's your watch, so use the time to establish a bit more navigation precision. And never forget to give it a save. Better safe than sorry. W466. Now it's almost 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, in game, of course. Yeah, let's carry on. That was the second kill on that patrol. And even with the first kill, we already fulfilled the requirements of the patrol, which was to 7 100,000 tons, and we got that with sinking this one single here, this one, the Liberty class. Yeah. So 9 o'clock, let's carry on with time acceleration. Yeah, come on, give us the full time acceleration capability again, please. Okay.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Natürlich, Herr Knoll.
Yeah, let's continue until 2 o'clock.
Torpedorohr
And then we are gonna do our next hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Yeah, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Pretty fair weather.
aktuelle Tiefe 5
Auf
Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
Meter. Meter.
Meter.
There we are, 50 meters. Let's listen to contacts.
Aktuelle Tiefe
Hey,
50 Meter.
Elzalet or Elzale. Sorry if I do mispronounce it. I was kind of guessing that it might be might be from France, or I don't know.
50 Meter.
But nevertheless, great to have you in the chat. Thanks for joining. Good evening. How are you doing? So I hope you slipped nicely out of the week, and now it's weekend. Elzalet. Let me just say it like that, and if I do mispronounce it, please don't hesitate to complain.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Is it at the moment? Only 2 channels at the moment. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so wonderful to have you here. So, of course, you make me curious. Do you play the game by yourself? I guess you do, right? Or, well, sometimes people also, yeah, people are watching the stream to figure out if it's worthwhile to buy the game or not. You just started, alright. Yeah, but that's nice. I always like to hear that because, in my opinion, this is really the best submarine simulation that we ever got. So, yeah, of course, I mean, it depends on your kind of personal preferences, but I think it's pretty worthwhile to dump a bit of time into that game to understand the concepts and play it. It's so immersive. So at the moment we are doing a hydrophone check. Around here we just sank a merchantman, and now I want to figure out if we could find some more victims. And the hydrophone check with the piece of equipment that I have at the moment gives us something like 90 miles of radius when we are down here, submerged. Of course, being away from the noisy surface, the hydrophone develops an enormous range, and we should be able to, yeah, recognize just any moving propeller in this radius. Yeah, nice. Thank you very much for the follow. That's very much appreciated. That's great. Yeah, you see that I'm just a small streamer, so I'm so glad if there are a few guys like you who, yeah, give me that positive feedback by giving me a follow. Thanks a lot. But do we have any contact at the moment? Yes, we have. So the usual question here in the Mediterranean that arises is this a fisherman or is it a serious target? And we only can figure it out by getting a second data point. So when I get a target from the hydrophone check, I usually, yeah, wait it out and finish the hydrophone check just to make sure that I don't miss anything. And then go towards the target for 1 hour and do a second hydrophone check. And by this, yeah, with the second contact, then you can extrapolate their course and their speed. Yeah, hey, on the one hand, I love Tarkov. I have been playing Tarkov for a little bit a while ago, and I pretty much love it for its realism. But yeah, like for me, when I'm coming back home from work, I spend the evening with my family, and then when my family goes to bed, I do some relaxing game playing. And Tarkov is actually just too stressy for me. I love to play DayZ. DayZ is really my long-term favorite. It's also a shooter, but I would say it's pretty different in the whole atmosphere that you get. And Tarkov is just too tight. Just too much stress for me when I do when I want to do a little bit of relaxing gameplay. But the game is great. That's clear. The Tarkov is really great. It's this kind of game which I would love to play, but I just know I can't stand the pressure. So now let's assume that this guy is moving with just ordinary 9 knots or 8 knots of a merchant. So after an hour, he should be somewhere on that circle, and we
äußerste Kraft
are
voraus.
going flank speed, which will bring us roughly here after 1 hour. So let's start the chase.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
Yeah, but I love Tarkov. It's great, but it's just, yeah, just not for me to play it. Instead, I love to play DayZ, and another favorite shooter of mine is Arma Reforger. I pretty much love that concept. It also gives you quite a bit of stress and strain to play it, but still not as much tension as you get in Tarkov. Yeah, I had been playing Tarkov for a little while, and I even managed to acquire a bit of loot. But yeah, Tarkov is also this kind of game where you have to dump a lot of time into. And as I am already dumping a lot of time into U-Boat, I don't have too much time left. But great game, I 100% agree. Here we go. Yeah, going flank at the moment. We are developing a hell lot of smoke, obviously, but yeah, let's just ignore that. Yeah, that's alright. Yeah, of course, DayZ is a lot of hiking the countryside. I saw and met people who were talking about DayZ being a hiking simulator. But yeah, I still love it. You have these stretches of time where nothing happens and then suddenly things become very tense and you have to react quickly. I pretty much love this survival simulation in the game. And additionally the PvP, giving you always that strain and stress of any moment you could run into people. So this is why usually I love to play on highly populated servers, because this really gives you this thrill. Yeah, I do it. Of course I do. Only if I'm starting to, be talking like right now. I don't, but in principle I do it. So, good point. Let's do a little bit of time acceleration. And go for 1 hour. And see if we get a second data point of these guys. So it was something like that, right? Let's do another hydrophone check. Yeah, I'm not playing it in real time. That would be just too tough to play U-Boat without any time acceleration. Yeah, by the way, I'm playing at almost maximum difficulty level, which has some interesting effects which I personally quite love. Like, if you have a contact, the contact is just not automatically plotted on the map, but you have to keep track of all your contacts manually. Okay, looks like we chose the right direction. Ah. There they are. Let's just hope. That could be a pretty slow guy. Yes.
45 Meter.
If a ship is moving just 5 or 4 miles per hour, it's pretty high probability that it's just a fisherman. So I don't think that it's worthwhile to go after that guy. Pretty much 100% sure that this guy is a fisherman. Sorry for the yawning.
Aktuelle Tiefe 55 Meter.
Shall we give it one more data point before we abandon that target? Yeah, come on, let's do it.
Anblasen.
Yeah, pretty much like this workflow of hydrophone check. So you don't have to do all the micromanagement. If you just order hydrophone check, the crew is gonna carry that out.
30 Meter.
And yeah, this is really one of the most fascinating features in the game that I really love the most. And I think this is really the unique selling point of U-Boat, that you never get the feeling that you are just pressing buttons and controlling a machine, but actually you are pressing buttons, but you are controlling a crew. So you issue orders and then a crew has to carry them out. And this concept is pretty great and pretty new, I would say. I think I don't know any other simulations which are reproducing this feeling so greatly. I mean, this crew management. We have quite a wave going. Quite a swell. What's the wind speed by now? Yeah, still 11 knots. Yeah, well, but obviously you did hit. Did you do the tutorial? Is it free of bugs meanwhile? When I started to play U-Boat many years ago and tried the tutorial, it was completely bugged and yielding pretty weird effects. But I guess that they have managed these problems meanwhile. Yeah, let's give it one more hydrophone check and then let's make up our mind whether that guy is just a boring fisherman. Well, sorry guys. If any fisherman is listening, of course, being a fisherman, I think, is the least boring, one of the least boring jobs, because you have to go out at just any weather and under pretty rough conditions have to carry out your job. So, no boring job, but in the game here, it's always a bit of a disappointment when you run into a fisherman instead of a decent target. Yeah, this is what gives me the fascination just as well. I'm really fascinated by this, by the technology, creating a U-boat which is being driven by a hybrid engine, diesel and electric. The batteries And this diving stuff to dive away, hide away underneath the water. And yep, this is actually what fascinates me. Since I was a child, that did fascinate me about U-Boat. Since I first saw the movie. The movie. Yeah, and I mean, if you really start to imagine how it would feel to be in a submarine, yeah.
Aktuelle Tiefe 55 Meter.
Now, there we are. Another data point. So I think that guy is moving pretty slowly.
Herr Kapitän?
Most probably just a fisherman. Yeah, come on. I'm pretty sure that this guy is just a fisherman. So let's carry on a bit. To the east, we still have plenty of torpedoes. We just fired 2 torpedoes, both were hits, and nicely sank that merchantman, that Liberty class. Yeah, guys, by the way, I have one eye on the number of viewers, and it's just great. Yeah, like I used to mention, I'm just a small streamer. Definitely not doing this with any commercial intentions. I just love to share my gameplay and love to communicate with people from all over the world. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't like to communicate with people from Germany. Of course, I do just as well. It's all the world. So guys, if you're just lurking, that's perfectly fine, but let me try to encourage you to maybe also give some feedback in the chat. Always love to learn what you think about the game, what you think about the stream, where you're from, things like that. We are still hydrophone checking. Yeah, gonna ignore that guy. It's a fisherman, I'm pretty sure. Yes, yeah. Yeah, from a certain point of view, you could call that these submarines just something like an iron coffin. Exactly, at one point there was no return. And of course it's not documented in any detail what the situation was when a submarine was destroyed. But yeah, I think that movie, this German movie from the first half of the 80s, gives a pretty good impression of how it might have been feeling if you were part of a crew of a submarine. And yeah, the background of the movie was actually a book, and the guy who wrote the book, he had been serving on a submarine by himself in the Second World War. Yeah, it might be a bit like Rainer Maria Remarque writing that famous story about the First World War. Nothing new on the Western Front. Is this the title? If you translate it to English. Very fascinating book as well. Yeah, I actually started that series, but it somehow it didn't catch me. I didn't dig it. I can't even tell why. I think it was well done, but still, I didn't dig it. It was just not quite down my alley somehow. I think I watched the first 2 or 3 parts of that series, but yeah, I don't know.
Aktuelle Tiefe 25.
Okay, we are getting back to the surface.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yes. Yeah, well, that was actually my intention also when I started to watch that series. I thought, well, I'm a big fan of this technology and fascinated by submarines. But yeah, for my personal taste, there was maybe too much storyline around. I don't know. But yeah, just kind of gut feeling. I really can't reason. I wouldn't say that it's a bad series. Definitely not. I would even say that it was a pretty good series, but yeah, it just didn't catch me. So let's carry on. And do a bit of time acceleration. Well, maybe I should save now and then. And let's carry on with our patrol. 4:30 was now when we continued it. 5:30. 6, 2.5 hours.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Navigation besetzen.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
It's so beautiful. Look at this evening sky. Look at that evening sky. The moon up there, the stars. That's just so beautifully implemented. Yes, yeah. Yeah, at times I could really just watch the scenery, how the boat is cutting through the waves and the spray flying up high. Could look at that for minutes. Feels so great. If you ask me, the graphics really makes me feel the salt on my lips and the damp moisture collecting in my hair.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Yeah, we're gonna carry on checking.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Of course we are. Yep, 100% agree. And yeah, and still, I think, yeah, of course, onshore it's not that detailed. But as it is a sea battle simulation, I think they did a good job. And what I really love about the game is also that you have this complete open world feature. So all the coasts are somehow in the game and you can go just anywhere. It's a complete open world game. And since the update, we can even visit these parts. Yeah, just fascinating if you ask me. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that was not only, I think, for U-boats. I think that was habit on just any military craft, right? I mean, historically, it was like when two ships or when two men of war encountered on sea, each of them dipped their flag, showed their flag. Only then, that's my understanding, that this is good old naval tradition. So, what else would we do right now than doing just another
Tauchen auf.
hydrophone check?
50 Meter.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
And down we go.
Aktuelle Tiefe 25 Meter. Meter.
Let me check briefly. I have to look at my Steam thingy. Here it is. The overall time in the game is 1250 hours.
Meter.
So I have been dumping quite some hours into the game, but I don't regret it. By the way,
55 Meter.
we do have a bit of water in the bilge, but yeah, 30 liters. So maybe when we are back to the surface next time, we should remember to turn on the pump for a little while. Yeah,
50 Meter.
that's right. That's quite a lot. So maybe I should be embarrassed that I'm dumping so much time into the game. But yeah, that's mainly from streaming. And I really love to stream the game. Yeah, so I could merge then my fascination of the game with my fascination of streaming with you guys from all over the world. I think they won't. I don't think so. They are so far away from doing co-op and multiplayer. But if you want to do co-op, there is another game. I don't know if you heard of it, but it's actually, let me remember what's the name. Yes, Wolfpack. That was the name. It's been a while since I've been playing it, but in Wolfpack you can actually do co-op in the way that you can log in with something like 5 friends, and then each of you is gonna take over a role in the crew. And there is also AI crew as well. So great game. So particularly all the mechanisms and technology is simulated even more realistic than you have it here. You really have all the ballast tanks to do manually. So it's pretty much of a challenge, and that's why the servers often are pretty deserted. So the game is great, but I think for mainstream gamers it's a bit too challenging. But if you have a nice crew of friends who are fascinated by that just as well, then I would really recommend to try Wolfpack. Yeah, it's relatively tough. So I once did a session together with weight loss games, and that was very good fun. Maybe we should repeat that sooner or later. But by the way,
Ja?
let me be AFK just for 1 minute. I'm gonna pause the game so that I don't miss any contacts that might come up. Be back in a minute. Alright guys, thanks for your patience. Back again. Yeah, even down here in the basement, it's getting warmer and warmer from day to day. No contacts. No contacts at the moment. Let's give it a bit of time acceleration.
Anblasen.
So what do you mean with that one? This 3-4 Pellings method? What is that one? I think I never heard of that one. So maybe I could learn something new.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Alright, back to the surface, but yeah, it's 2 o'clock. It's in the middle of the night still. Ah, okay, 3 bearing method. Yeah, but it still doesn't ring a bell with me. What I usually do is I take hydrophone readings. So as soon as I have contact, I take a hydrophone reading every hour while I'm chasing the ship. And with that, like here, I get a good impression. Like I have that contact, then this contact, and this contact. Each of them being detected after 1 hour, and with this you could nicely extrapolate their speed, which you need, like at least when you play at highest difficulty level that I do. You need to enter the speed manually into the targeting computer, and for the direction that pretty much helps to determine the angle on bow finally. Okay, 12 knots of wind speed by now. But no contact at the moment, so let's carry on. Another change of watch.
Kurs setzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
And next hydrophone check here.
Navigation besetzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
So guys,
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
go for 50 meters and give me a 5 minutes silent run of hydrophone checking. Yeah, okay, all right. I think it's similar to what I do. I would guess. Yep.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5
Auf
Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
Now, guys, fingers crossed that we might get some decent contact. Yeah, okay, all right. I think I would check it after the stream.
45 Meter.
Peilung
Just wouldn't dive into that YouTube video in parallel to the gameplay, but thanks for the link.
Herr Kapitän. 50 Meter.
All right, there is a contact.
Herr Kapitän.
Are we going to chase that one? Yes, of course we are.
setzen.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Nevertheless, let's finish the hydrophone check
55
just to make sure that we don't miss any other contact. Just because we are too distracted by that guy.
Meter.
Okay.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Hey, no problem. No problem. Don't worry about your English. You're doing perfectly fine.
Anblasen.
55 Meter.
Now, again, my standard approach. Let's assume that this guy is moving with standard 8 knots. Then after 1 hour he should be on that circle. And if we get a second contact after 1 hour, this would allow us then to tell where on the circle they are, which would give us an extrapolation of their course.
20 Meter.
And yeah, this would also give us a more detailed impression of how fast they're moving.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
There we are. Time 10:10. So let's carry on with a little bit of careful time acceleration. Yeah, okay. XL Jedi. Yeah, gonna keep that in mind. I am actually curious what 3 bearing method actually means.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
Okay, now I have to admit I lost track of the time. When did I start? However, let's do another hydrophone check.
50 Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. E-Motorenwechsel.
There we are.
Geräusch. Peilung 30 Grad.
50 Meter.
Okay. I don't know. That looks hard to tell at the moment because I was pretty imprecise about the time measurement. Peilung bearing. Yeah, that's right. Peilung is bearing. Yep.
Kurs setzen.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum. 50 Meter. Meter.
So after one more hour, their position should be around there and our position somewhere around there. Let's keep moving. Well, let's first do some time acceleration to finish the hydrophone check.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Anblasen.
And there we go, back to the surface.
Motorenwechsel.
Herr Kalol, wir sind aufgetaucht.
I also wanted to check the bilge. Yeah, let's turn on the pump for a little while. So it's 22:12. All right, one more hour. This time I really checked the time
50 Meter.
precisely. And down we go again.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. E-Motorenwechsel.
Meter.
Oh no. That doesn't look good. Let's continue the hydrophone checking. All right.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
No other contact. Good. So, if I look at the time, we've been doing that stream now for 2.5 hours. And around here, it's 2:30, which is a decent time to go to bed, actually. But before ending the stream, let me briefly check if there is anybody online worthwhile to raid. Come on. I think not. So, thank you guys. Well, actually, if I look at the viewers, there are so many viewers in at the moment. It's really, yeah, it's a pity that I have to end, but yeah, it's just so late. And so, thank you guys for being in. Elzalet, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for the follow, and thank you very much for the great discussion that we had. Yeah, that would be great. I'm definitely gonna stream tomorrow, also late night. So here my local time, local German time, being, yeah, probably something like 12 o'clock. I'm gonna start. And yeah, Colin, thanks for being in. And yeah, let me repeat that I feel very sorry that Scotland didn't make it. Yes, I am actually from Germany, from Frankfurt area. Islay, it was a pleasure to have you in again. Always great to have you in the stream. So have a good night. You have that sleeping room with an air condition. I'm very jealous actually. Ja, mir geht's gut. Ja, schlaf gut. Colin, Elzalet, Islay, all of you, have a good night. Again, like usual, we had a nice little chat. It was a pleasure to share my time with you. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Islay.